out at Blackwood Nursery in KwaZulu-Natal, and I'm going to show you what you can do this winter in your garden. Now, I know you're all sitting on the couch, nice and tucked in, maybe the fire's going, your little fur friend next to you, and you're thinking, I really don't want to get out into the garden. But here it is, folks. If you're a beginner gardener, or even if you're an experienced gardener, this is one activity that you surely can do in winter. And not only is it going to improve your whole garden, but it's going to make you feel a whole lot better as well. So what are we going to do? We're going to show you how to plant up this awesome herb box. It's a wooden herb box. Remember, herbs need full sun or a minimum of a half-day sun. They don't only need to be combined on their own, in other words, just herbs. You can be brave and add loads of winter colour in just to lift it as well. So let's get started. How are we going to do it? We've got our box, we've got some potting soil. In my little secret bag of tricks, I've got my fairy dust, which is bone meal. And the first thing I'm going to do, grab a little garden trowel, and I'm going to add at least 2 spadefuls into my potting soil of bone meal. Now remember, we add bone meal into your potting soil to just enhance it a bit, because bone meal encourages root growth. It really just sustains the plant food, it sustains the potting soil and gives your plants a bit of extra nutrition, which is what you're wanting. Okay, now I'm good to go there. Now when you get one of these boxes, or even if you make one yourself, you're going to get one of these bits of plastic. So all you're going to do is take this baby and you're going to pop it in here. So now you can see that it's taken the edges nicely of your container. Because it's wood, folks, that's why you need to use the plastic, because it stops the wood from rotting. And if the wood has been treated with any nasty things, nasty chemicals, it stops that from going into the soil and affecting your plants. So now what you want to do is just take some of your potting soil, and we are going to add just into each corner, just to help hold up this plastic. Now, you'll see what I'm doing there. There we go. Just makes life just a bit simpler. Now, of course, the next most important thing is drainage. And it doesn't matter what your container is, you need to have sufficient drainage. And if you don't have that, well, then your herbs are going to rot. And in fact, any plant that you put in a container will rot. A lot of the containers that you buy these days do not have drainage holes, or even sufficient drainage holes. So as a general rule of thumb, the container this size, about 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters, you want to work with at least a minimum of 3 drainage holes. And that is so important. Now, because this is plastic, of course, I can use a garden fork just to poke it and just to allow for a few drainage holes in here. Now, a lot of you folks might be sitting there and thinking, well, if I'm going to put drainage holes in there and then I'm going to put it on my expensive Italian tiles, when I water it, then it's going to come oozing out. If that's your worry, rather pick it up, take it off the patio, water it well once a week, which is all you need to do, and then bring it back. And that way, you, the plants, the tiles will all be very happy. We can put my lethal fork away. Now what we do is simply add in the potting soil halfway up the container. Remember, this is a rule that you're going to use all the time when you're potting up. You don't get overexcited and fill it up with potting soil, because then you're going to be like a Jack Russell trying to take the soil out to put a plant this big in. Does that make sense? And we all get very enthusiastic and we fill it up with potting soil, and then we realize, oops, but we've added too much. You can see that the level that I've reached in this beautiful container is about halfway, no more, okay? Because this is going to be your marker. If you can take whatever your container is that you're going to be putting into here, look at that. When I pop it on there, perfect. It's the level, the same level as the top of the container. What I've got is a selection of herbs that will grow whether you're living on the coast or high up in the mountains where it gets very, very cold. So I've got beautiful rosemary. This is called Tuscan Blue. Awesome rosemary because it grows nice and upright, great for cooking. Lovely thyme. Every herb garden has to have some thyme in it. Remember, it's all in this fragrance when you squeeze it and you just release all those gorgeous oils. So that, I've got some strawberries. Now look at this. This ain't no ordinary strawberry. I've got a pink flowering strawberry and a white flowering strawberry. Aren't they gorgeous? Not only are they going to give me fruit, but I love the flowers, and that's an important part. And remember, after flowering comes the fruit. So enjoy these, and these can be used anywhere in the garden, whether on a perennial border, whether in a pot like this, or just even in the herb garden. I've got some oreganum, lovely oreganum, low growing, lovely for using in any tomato dishes that you're using. Remember, you cannot ever use too much of this. Throw it in, make sure that you crush it up, because only when you crush all the herbs, that's when the essential oils get removed. And then for a bit of colour, I've got this funky petunia, wicked, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful verbena. Both love the sun, yep, so they're going to marry well with the herbs. And then for a bit of added elements, I've got some lettuce here, perennial lettuce or perpetual lettuce as they're called, because they will go on for about 3 months. Remember, these lettuce will give you loads and loads for the next 3 months. If you're living in a frost area, just make sure that this little container is raised off the ground a bit to protect the lettuce plants. However, if you're not going to do that, just don't add the lettuce. All right. And then some mimulus. Mimulus are a great winter annual that you can add into any part of your garden. Border edgings, containers, hanging baskets, they do a great job. So let's get started. My rosemary is the tallest plant, going to get the highest, so that is going to be my main plant. There's a very simple formula that we're going to follow here. One main plant, lower plants, front colour, and then bits that fill in. All right, that's the recipe. Fingers like Star Trek, around the plant, turn it over, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, and out it comes. That's what I want. Okay. Lovely when you can make a mess in your garden. Added winter colour. Ah. So lovely. Now, all of the guys that I want in, which are the major players in this window box or in this container, are in. Now what I want to do is take some of the potting soil, right, and I'm going to start filling in the gaps. Now, use the trowel. You can see right here, there I go, inside the little gaps, just like that. Another trick, take something like this, like the garden fork, and you just tease away the soil here. Just kind of prod it a bit. Now this might take a bit of time, but take the patience, do it, because you will be rewarded with plants that are snug in amongst their potting soil and that really are going to look great. Rightio, last bits that I'm going to put in are my beautiful perpetual lettuce, and I'm going to throw a little green frilly guy. He's going to go in here. Now remember, I consider these guys really just fillers in everything that I'm doing in containers, because they grow so quickly. Within 3 weeks, this guy's going to be that big. And then you can pick a couple of leaves and use it for salad. In the veggie garden, they're going to do exactly the same thing. Be mature within 3 weeks that you'll be able to pick lettuce, and they're going to last you for that length of time, and then you just simply replace them. So here I have, entirely happy, my rosemary in the middle, thyme, oreganum that's going to cascade, my verbena is going to carry on growing, strawberry is just going to ooze out of here, lettuce, beautiful petunia that's going to cascade over the edge here as well, and my 2 little lettuce plants in the corner, which will sustain me for my salads throughout the winter. At some point down the line, which will probably be about 3 or 4 months, something's going to start getting a bit scraggly around here. More than likely, the verbena, when summer arrives, will start looking a bit tired, all right? Because that's what perennials do. So how do you treat it? If your thyme is really getting kind of woody at the base, it really does need some pruning. Now, what I suggest that you do is the following, especially with your perennials, which this is you only want to prune half of the plant at a time. So you see, the rest of the plant is still here. I'm going to prune this half. And it's important that you do that so that you don't put the plant into too much shock, so that it can sustain itself and grow again. Because sometimes if you prune the whole thing one time, it just dies. Okay, so let's rather be safe than sorry, and we're going to do it like this. When you're going to prune it, you're going to go low down, about 2 centimeters from the base of the plant, and you're literally just going to give it a full haircut all the way across, right like that. Very simple. So there we've got half of the plant pruned, the other half still here. When we've done that, about 2 weeks later, you're going to start seeing the new shoots coming through here. When those new shoots start emerging, you then prune the other half. And that way, you're not going to put this plant through as much stress. You're going to do the same with the verbena. You'll do the same with the petunia. And if your rosemary does start getting scraggly, you'll do the same with that. But that is your basic pruning. Remember, secateurs are the gardener's tools of their trade. We've got to use them more often to make sure that our plants are kept in check, looking gorgeous all year round. And lastly, remember to feed this guy. Give it a liquid pot plant food, give it some organic granules, and it's going to give you loads and loads of pleasure, herbs, and color right throughout the winter.